In studio, my buddy Chris. How you doing? What's going on, man?
Good. I'm just happy the sun's out this weekend. Actually got some color on my face.
Oh, I thought you were heading in a different direction. I thought you were heading in a different direction. We were going to go right into talking about solar
Yeah, well,
because you are the big cheese of August Roofing and Solar, which, solar, sun.
yes.
I think it means solar means sun, does it
Yes.
not?
Oh, yeah, and
Okay.
definitely are. I just know from watching my system, it has produced significantly less this year because of all our rain and gloom.
It was. We went from May gray, as they call it, right,
Yes.
to June gloom.
Yes.
And then it looked like we were out of the woods. It looked like sun, sun, sun. And then we got it. They threw in a couple. They threw in a couple over the weekend there.
Yes.
Which is okay because I hear we're in for a really hot summer. And Tori, I hate to talk in the third person, Chris, but Tori doesn't do well with triple digits, extended triple digits.
Yes.
If you throw one in once in a while, that's fine. But if you're going to extend, and I hear it's going to be an extension,
Wow.
that has. Let's quickly talk about that for a second.
Okay.
When it's hotter outside, does that have any effect on how much solar you can grab in through your system, or does it not have to do with the heat so much as just the sun, the brightness of the sun?
Yeah, that's a good question, Tori. Actually, solar needs a nice middle ground to operate at its maximum.
So does Tori.
See?
So does Tori. There we go.
There we go. So yeah, in the summer, if it's you got triple digits and stuff, when I first started in this industry, I thought, oh man, that's when it's got to be doing its best work. It's actually not. Your spring and your fall will actually have the best return. Watching on my system, spring is usually like March, April, May, sometimes June. That's when I'll get actually the best production.
And then when we get really super hot, how does it turn down a lot, like the production, or what would you say percentage a little bit?
Yeah, I don't really know. I haven't really done any studies, so I can't speak to it exactly, but it goes down pretty significantly.
So August, September, not really your friends.
No.
No. We talked last week a little bit about, we get into this area of, in the summer, sometimes we lose the grid. And we have power outages here and there, and a lot of people who have solar, I think, are misinformed that when you have solar, you're good to go in through these shutdowns or rolling blackouts or even just a power failure. You're not, unless
Yes,
you have a battery.
that's correct.
I am learning. Do you understand? My knowledge has increased so much since we've been doing these interviews. I could probably do it for you.
Yeah, well, that's
I could
good.
probably do it for you. So you need the battery. So tell our listeners how exactly that works, because I thought years ago, when this first came, like 10 years ago, when we started hearing you get the solar panels and you don't have to pay for your electric, I thought we made our own. We made our own. You made your own electricity. It stayed within the home and you were good to go. And that's just not the case. You actually feed it back to the grid. You're actually just feeding it.
That's correct. So
Unless you have that battery. So explain that, Chris.
yeah, so it's kind of like the analogy I use. It's like a water hose. So pretend you had something that had a water in it, like a rain barrel or something like that, and then you turned it on. That water's got to go somewhere. So like if the grid shuts down, they shut your solar down because the power actually goes to the grid, because your house would not be good if a whole bunch of extra power came into your house and you at least weren't using it to the same level. So the way we do the systems is the power actually goes back on the grid. It turns your meter around. You get a special meter. It turns it backwards as it goes out, and then you use it when it comes in. So that's why batteries and the Public Utilities Commission, they actually changed the way credits work. And so now going forward, the batteries are super critical for what we've talked about is the ROI, return on investment. So you will need a battery to really maximize a solar system going forward. And it's a super nice convenience, right? Because when we, if it's going to be a hot summer, we might be having those fires, right, with all the greenery and stuff that's out there. So it'd be nice to be able to maybe watch some TV, recharge our phones, keep the refrigerator cool when we have a blackout.
Well, you don't realize until you're going along your merry way until you have a blackout, and then all of a sudden your world is just turned upside down.
100%.
You're like you just everyone clearly just went grocery shopping.
Yeah.
Moments before everything was shut down. You have a fridge full of food, right?
Yeah. Oh,
I mean,
100%.
it always happens that way.
Well, and then if you have a instant water heater like we do, if you don't have power, no hot water. So it's not like you got a 40 gallons sitting in your garage that you can use up. So.
Nope. Cold showers become your friend.
Yeah.
Or they should.
Yeah.
Chris, batteries, how much? First of all, what do they look like? Where do they go? If you have a battery, is it an independent unit, or does it go somewhere on the roof or on the side of your house? Where does it go?
They're pretty big units. They can go inside the garage or outside of the house. They can be mounted either way, and there's usually numerous components. There'll be an inverter, a battery. I'm a SunPower dealer, so there's like 3 cases that will go on the outside of the house, and then there's different sizes, and the sizes are how much storage there's actually in the battery itself.
So if you have a big family, bigger storage.
Yeah,
makes sense, right?
Yeah, and it depends on how much you want to have backed up when the blackout's there. People, I had a customer, they were under the impression that they were going to be able to run their whole entire house, and they can for probably about 15 minutes, and then the battery will be discharged.
Right.
So they have to, when you get a battery, you got to look at your power usage. Obviously, the refrigerator, people go, oh, I want my AC. Well, not necessarily such a great thing. ACs drain a lot, and they do have quite a few amps necessary for startup.
Can you do, this might sound weird, but can you do a practice run? Is there any way you can do a practice run where you just go from your battery and take that juice out to see exactly what you could use? Is there any way to do a practice run?
Well, the thing with batteries is we have to rewire all of the circuits that you want backed up through the battery, through your panel. So that is where actually most of the labor is incurred in a battery, is doing all those circuits. So the more circuits you want, or if you're not sure of the circuits, that can be costly. And we've had people call me back and say, hey, I don't want this, change it to that. So it's not super expensive, but it is an additional cost.
It's something definitely that you guys need to sit down, discuss, and have a consultation over. It's not just putting in a system and going from there. It is talking about what you need, what you want, what you think might happen, on and on and on.
Yeah, it's very much a design. After we sell a solar and battery system, we have a electrician that works in our office that will come out and sit down with you and figure out how you want to use your battery and what will be best for you.
The more communication, the better. We're talking with Chris. He is the founder and CEO of August Roofing and Solar. You can reach him at augustroofing.com. Altogether, August, just like the month. Or you can even go on Siri, because he's that kind of guy. He is the coolest of cool, and you can ask Siri to hook you up to augustroofing.com. Chris, we'll see you next week.
All right.